And so today, was one of those funky days. It's people may call it imbalances. It's when you feel down for no reason, sad, depressed, or you're having the wrong type of thoughts, and it's having a day like that. But I just wanted to make a video about decisions and how everything is a decision. What I entertain in my mind is up to me, whether I want to capture that thought and entertain it for the rest of the day, or whether I want to extract it, throw it into the abyss, and just keep moving and filter out that thought and put it and replace it with a new thought, right? And it's taken me years to figure this out, that how much power we have as human beings, right? We're not victims unless you want to be a victim. If you put yourself in front of a dartboard and let the enemy just throw darts at you all day long, then yes, for sure you're going to get hit, and for sure you're going to feel lousy, and for sure it's going to be one of those days that it's just no good. But I'm here to tell you that you can absolutely, not be a bag in the wind and just be ushered by your feelings back and forth. Like, you have control over that. Let's start with the mind. The mind, the heart, the spirit, the soul, and the body, right? The mind, the Bible says, as a man thinks, so is he. And so basically, your thoughts come. Some are your thoughts, some you're intentionally putting in your mind, thinking about things, right? That's you. Then the other thoughts are automatic. They come sporadically out of nowhere, and they just land in your mind. And those things can be spiritual. Those things are can be interpreted as what I was referring to as the darts that the Bible refers to as, the devil talking to that person and trying to give them ideas. um, have you ever thought, you know bad about somebody, and thought that they were talking bad about you and this and that, and it's this whole insinuation in your mind about a story that's being played out in your head, that quite frankly, when you find out the truth, you find out that it was a big fat lie. It was an imagination, right? Bible says to cast those imaginations down. So you have control over your feelings. The feelings that you have, you can rebuke them. So you can have a feeling of whatever it may be. It doesn't matter what it is, but you don't have to accept it. We are spirit beings in a spiritual world, and those things of which you do not see attack us. They attack you, okay? Through the mind, through feelings and stuff like that. God says you are more than conquerors. So pray to God and ask God. For example, God says, put on the spiritual armor, the helmet of salvation, the boots of peace, the breastplate of righteousness. This is what the armor consists of: the sword of the word, the shield of faith, the belt of the truth. And when you're putting this on in the spirit realm, right? And that's going to guard you from attacks that the enemy comes and tries to infiltrate on, right? And so our duty is to watch out for the things that the enemy is doing in the spiritual realm. So that's why the Bible says, pray without ceasing. Pray about everything, right? And if you feel stuck in a specific area, like you can't move, if you feel like you're bound, like you can never move forward, most likely that's a spirit, a demon holding you to that location. And again, God gave you weapons of warfare to cut yourself loose. And so a prayer to God, to cut you loose. And sometimes it takes more than one prayer. Sometimes you have to fast. Sometimes you have, but this is how you fight back. When you understand that these things are not going away, they're not gonna take a break. They're not going on vacation. Then you start to train yourself to become a warrior, right? In the spirit, you start to train yourself. Okay, well, it's one or the other. It's either become a warrior or become a statistic, become a victim your whole life, where they just bash you, sabotage you, your relationships, your job, everything. They just have their way, and then you die in the very end of your story. Is that the way you want to live? Or you can fight back. And God gave you tools, resources to fight back. See, God says, first and foremost, salvation, redemption. Start there, being born again. If you're not born again, you're on the losing side automatically, because the devil has complete access to that person, complete access, okay? Because sin opens the door to the devil, and he takes full advantage of that. And so everybody sins on planet Earth. As soon as they're popped out of the mother's womb, you know, and shortly after that, it's a warfare already for that baby. It's already a war. And so uh, these are the things that I wish that people would educate. Like they should have a broadcasting, a video for everybody that's a child, and say what you're getting into in this world. You were born into a physical realm that's very spiritual, and you have access to angels and heaven and resources and tools and help. But if you don't know that, then you're going to be defeated by your ignorance, right? My people perish for lack of knowledge, is what the Bible says. They perish for lack of knowledge. They didn't have to perish, but they don't have the knowledge of what they have accessible to them, so they're gonna, they eventually perish. So, the armor of God is a good way of defending yourself, right? And then fasting and praying and being close to God. Closing a lot of doors that open the door to the devil. You want to close those doors. So if you're dealing with addictions, if you're dealing with sin, if you're dealing with anything that has to do with in your heart, it's bothering you, it's bugging you out, it makes you feel guilty and shameful, and you want to quit it, most likely that's God letting you know, like, we got to deal with this, because the devil's using it to take you down. The devil's using it to kill you. So we got to deal with this. And so you tag team with God. You come into covenant with God, a vow with God. You come into relationship with God, and you say, okay, God, I'm on your side. And and in order to be on God's side, you got to do things God's way, right? And so that's the conditions, that you do it His way, right? So God says, get rid of this, you get rid of it. God says, move, you move. God says, stay, you stay. God says, stop chilling with so and so, you stop chilling with so and so. That, like, God knows, God's got the perfect plan for your life. He loves you. He's got the perfect future for you. And the devil is the one that's sneaky, conniving, trying to sabotage you every step of the way. The devil's the one that wants to trip you up as you're walking, set you up for traps, etc. That's why the Bible talks to you, and the Bible is one of the ways that God speaks to you. And so if you want God to speak to you, open up the Bible, and God will speak to you, because there's people that they say, well, how do I know it's God? Open up the Bible. God's ways are in the Bible, okay? And so if it doesn't line up with the Bible, it's probably not God, period. So that's a good way to understand. So in other words, I woke up this morning for no reason at all, and I was just having one of those funky days. I was going about my life, and I just felt like I was in a cloudy. It is cloudy and physical, but I was having a cloudy within me, and it was a choice. It was a decision on my end. Back in the day when I was a teenager or a young adult, I used to think that I had to go with this because it was the cards that I was dealt that day. I just felt like, well, this is the boat I'm in, and I gotta stay in the boat. Like, this is what it is. It is what it is, right? I had no idea that I had control and choices and decisions, that I could change my attitude, change my mentality, change my outlook, change my inward, feelings by changing my thoughts, etc., right? And so for people that have gone through a lot of that suffering, depression and all that kind of stuff, they understand that there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing of value or investment. There's nothing positive is going to come out of that. It steals your day, it steals your time, your energy, and it puts you in a bad mood. And other people don't really want to be around you, and it's a cycle that nothing good comes out of it. So if you've done that and you see that nothing good, then you definitely, when it knocks on the door, you don't want to answer that door, right? And then the point that the part that you want to get to is you want to get to the part where it's an enemy of yours, because it is indeed a spirit. And when you view it as a spirit, you can attack it. You don't have to view it like it's a part of you, because your mentality is telling you that you can't change things that you're feeling. That's a form of thinking. But if you change your form of thinking, you'll change your life. Period. It's really powerful to step out of the box of what people created the box for you to live in. It's a program. A lot of people have programmed you up to this point to believe in the way that you believe and look at life the way you look at life. But the successful people step out of the box. The successful people, you know, get out of the program and they start to view life from their from a different lens than other people. So that's what makes them unique, and that's what makes them step out of the bondage, the yokes, the slavery, and it makes them step out of the, yeah, all of the matrix, so to speak. And so then when you step out of that, you can really dissect life for yourself. You don't have to have somebody else interpret life for you. You can dissect life for yourself, right? For a long, long, long time, for me, my mom defined my life. She told me, be careful with this, be careful with that. And she installed a lot of fear in me about different things, because she herself had fear growing up for whatever reason. So people just pour out what they have inside of them. And for me, I was programmed by my elders in my family. Everybody is, in terms of their family members. When you're a baby and growing up, people are teaching you. But as I grew up, older and older, I stepped out of their box. I stepped out of their program. I stepped out of what they taught me, and I learned life for myself. I saw reality. I saw people. I saw places and things. I saw money. I saw different things, different aspects, different views. And as I saw everything different from my lens, I made it work for me. I wasn't just looking at it and interpreting it, but it worked for me. And so, if you're a fighter, you're going to stand in a way where your posture works for you, right? Even if somebody else teaches you how to jab and how to hook and how to uppercut and this and that, you're still gonna have to feel comfortable within your own stance. You're gonna have to separate your feet how you feel comfortable, not to the right. Like, and that goes with fighting, but that goes with baseball. If I teach you how to swing the bat, and but you don't feel comfortable, you're not gonna swing it to the best of your ability. Even if I'm teaching you kind of the gist of how to swing the bat, you still gotta find your act for swinging that thing like a professional. But you, like you capture your moment, right? And so important that people find themselves. They find how they view life, right? And how they deal with situations. And one of the things that people have to understand is that what somebody else is good at, you may not be good at it, but that doesn't make you less than them. So you're gonna excel where they don't excel. They're weak in areas that you're not weak in, and you're strong in areas that they're weak in, etc. Like, it's mix and match. Okay. In the end of the day, you don't compare yourself to other people. You are a unique specimen all by yourself, and so you hold qualities that other people will marvel at. But in other areas in your life, you just drop the ball. You're like, oh man, I'm not able to draw. Like me personally, I can't draw. I'm not a good artist. I can't. But other people can. But where I can write good poetry, decent poetry, right? Give me a paper and a pen, and I can write you poetry, and that person that can draw maybe can't. So you see how we mix and match. So you have to find you in life, and don't let other people define you. You step into your own shoes and walk out your own destiny, and you do that with the Lord. I found all this out that I told you when I met God. When I found out God, yeah, when God found me, He gave me identity. He started giving me value. That's one of the first things that God gave me. He gave me value. He started to tell me, don't let other people talk to you the way that they're talking to you. It's one of the first things that God addressed with me because I come from the slumps. I come from the the, the lowest parts of society, life, and God rescued me from a broken place. And and so he one of the first things he addressed with me was value, and he gave me value because he started telling me, showing me, not just telling me but showing me and helping me to feel his love for my life. And once he did that, that gave me value. And then he started to teach me from that point forward, and he built me from the ground up, right? And as I've grown and all that, I've accustomed my mind to thinking a certain type of way, to where it benefits me and it benefits God, and it doesn't benefit the devil. Because if it benefits the devil, I'm doing myself a disservice and I'm doing God. It's a double whammy, and I'm not winning. So why, if this is my domain, this is my territory, why am I going to allow uh, my enemy to infiltrate and have his way? Right? No, it's a war. And so as you capture this, as you understand this, you're walking it out. You position yourself in a position for victory, and you're walking towards destiny with purpose behind your steps. You're not just aimlessly going about life, because God is with you, and God get, and so you're connected to God, and automatically you're in the right place, doing life the right way, by being connected to Jesus. But yeah, no, I just wanted to share, like, you know so I was, and a lot of these things are tests that the Bible refers to as tests. It's nothing more than a test. Let me see how far you've come along. Let me see where your character is at. Let me see how you deal with this situation. Let me see, when you're pressed, what comes out of you. When I press you, what's your reaction? Oh, and these are the areas that God knows that He has to deal with us on, and help us with, right? And so certain things come your way to test you, to challenge you, just to see, how far along you've come along and where God needs to work with you on, right? And you, you know, it's one of those things that it's for your benefit. And so you're valuable, you're expensive, you have a lot to look forward to. But if you have the wrong mindset, you got to change that mindset. You got to change it for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. People could give you good advice, people could lead you, but ultimately you have to have a heart to heart with yourself and say, you know what, I want to save, you know, my innocence. I want to save my principles, my ethic. Like there's things about me that I want to grow. You have to have a heart to heart. There's what do you want to get better at, and then put that into prayer, and then you tag team with God to getting better at that area, and ask God to help you in all those little details. You know, and then that's how you go about it. Don't let pride say, I got this, I'm gonna do this, because pride goes before the fall. I see it so often where people is like, okay, I got this. That's when they fall. But rather have the attitude of, even though it looks like I got this, God, thank you for grace. Thank you for grace for making this happen. And that's the right attitude, right? The Bible says that don't make plans for tomorrow. You don't even know if you're going to be alive tomorrow. Don't make plans for next week. You see that mentality of it's going to happen kind of thing. Have you ever made a vacation date, and then it storms all throughout the. You didn't plan on that, but you were so excited. You thought it was going to be like how you pictured it, and it turned out to be something very different than what you pictured. Life throws a lot of that at you and at me, and so it makes you depend more on God. That's what it's supposed to do. It makes you God, and you pray about it. Everything. Take it to prayer. Everything. God bless you guys.